Fan Expo Philadelphia is breaking the law, and we need to talk about it. This is a little different than my usual content, but I just got back from Fan Expo Philadelphia, and there are some really important things that I feel like need to be discussed. I know that the title to this sounded a little clickbaity, but I promise it's not. Fan Expo is quite literally breaking the law, and we do need to talk about it. What laws are they breaking? Well, they're breaking ADA accommodation laws. I don't talk about this online a lot, but I am disabled. This video is not about my disabilities, but it is an important factor for context. I don't want to get into the details, but there are some things that I will tell you about my condition, like if I stand in place for too long, I will faint, especially in situations like a convention where I'm probably already having to do a lot of walking and standing. If I stand in place without the ability to sit for extended periods, I will literally faint, like unconscious on the floor. This information is important because, like a lot of other people, that prevents me from standing in long lines. Under the ADA laws, events like this are required to provide ADA seating or an ADA line. Now, to have access to these, you do need to go to the accessibility booth in a convention, and they'll give you something like a pin or a sticker on your badge, typically speaking. For example, GalaxyCon Richmond, I went to the accessibility booth. I explained that I needed accommodations because I cannot stand for long periods, and they gave me a fast pass. Now, some cons are a little bit harder to get this and some are easier, and from what I've seen, every single con handles ADA accommodations a little differently. I personally like how GalaxyCon Richmond handled it. They gave me a fast pass, and they provided me with the ability to go in shorter lines and see people that I wanted to see without having to constantly go and tell people, hey, I'm disabled, I need accommodations, hey, please help me, I can't stand in this line, etc. Fan Expo Philadelphia did not do that for me. My first stop when I made it into the con was to go to the accessibility booth, and I got the sticker on my badge, the sticker that is supposed to entitle me to accommodations when needed. But I don't know why they bothered, because they provided no accommodations whatsoever. In fact, every volunteer that I asked told me that higher-ups and management told them that they are not to, under any circumstance, provide ADA accommodation, seating, or lines. When I discovered this, I was crushed. I realized that the people that I wanted to meet, the people that I looked up to and simply wanted to shake their hand and get an autograph from, like anyone else at the convention, I realized that I couldn't, because their lines were too long and I just couldn't stand in them. For things like waiting to be let into the next panel, I did sit on the floor until it was time to let people in. No one gave me a hard time for that, luckily, but lines for autographs are slowly inching up, and that's not something that's doable. For one, it's packed so tight that there isn't room. Secondly, I would have to crawl or scooch up in line or constantly stand and sit, which would probably just cause me to faint anyways. So there was literally no way for me to just accommodate myself somehow. My friend had purchased a photo op meet and greet, and we thought we were going to have to split up, which I was afraid of because, again, I have the possibility of fainting, and it concerned me to be separated from her. We got in line early, and we were the first in line for this particular meeting. I was thinking that I would have to leave my friend to wait without me. I quite honestly looked for the nicest looking volunteer and asked them if they had any sort of ADA accommodations, because I was not able to stand for long. I have to say, this particular volunteer was incredible. She was so nice to me. She gave me a chair. She sat me up front. She told everyone that we were first in line, and she let my friends stay with me so that we weren't split up. She told all the other volunteers that we were indeed first in line because we were first in line, and she wanted to make sure we didn't lose our spot. But for that, we were able to sit, and I'm still so grateful for her. When she had a moment, I did talk to her, and she confirmed that yes, they are aware that they are legally required to provide seating or specialized lines, but that management told them that they are not allowed to. Her and another volunteer, from my understanding, had to borrow chairs from the Convention Center Hotel to provide ADA seating on their own, which was against the direct orders from their management. But they knew that they needed to provide it. Anyways, they did not have as many chairs as they needed, but they were doing their best, and she did everything that she could to make sure that we were all protected and safe and comfortable, and I would really like to thank her. I don't know her name, and if I did, I wouldn't say it because I don't want her reprimanded for going against orders in any way. But if you do just so happen to watch this, thank you. Thank you so much. You made a huge difference for me, and it meant a lot. So after talking to that person, being able to get seating for the meet and greet, I was feeling a little bit more confident, and I was like, maybe, just maybe, I will be able to get accommodations at the autograph line. So after that was over, I decided to try, and I had to ask so many people. The first person I asked basically said, we don't provide that. Management told us we are not allowed to give ADA accommodations, so there's nothing I can do. I decided to ask someone else, and like 4 or 5 staff members later, someone directed us to the VIP booth and said that they could figure it out. Each one telling us that they were directed by management or the organizers of Fan Expo or higher ups or whoever else was in charge of them, that under no circumstance are they allowed to give ADA accommodations. I stood up for myself, and this is the first time that I have ever stood my ground and asked for what I need and what I am legally entitled to. And it was really scary. I was literally shaking and about to cry the entire time, but I did it. And I had my best friend there to back me up. I honestly don't know if I could have done it without her. I told them that they are legally required to provide me with seating while I wait or provide an ADA line. And eventually, after talking to so many people, being directed around and being told they couldn't help, or maybe someone else can help, or whatever, finally we get to the VIP booth. And the VIP booth basically says, I have no idea what to do. Let me get someone else. And they got someone else, and they all talked it over, and they all confirmed that they were instructed not to give any sort of accommodation. Eventually, they decided to put me in the VIP line so I could get through faster, and I am really grateful to the people who did help me. I did end up getting to wait in the faster line. I didn't have to stand for too long. I had a little bit of a wait, but it wasn't too bad, and I was able to do it physically, and I was able to meet and get the autograph of one of the people that I was so excited to meet. And it was an amazing experience that I almost wasn't able to have. I did decide not to get any other autographs while at this convention because it was too hard to get into a faster line. It was way more trouble than it should have been, and I did not have the mental or physical ability to do it again. But I am proud of myself that I stood up for my rights. That isn't something that I do often, but it's something that I am trying to do more. And I'm trying to be assertive and stand up for myself and others when I need to. That's part of why I'm making this video. I just felt like I needed to talk about it. I wanted to share my experience, not only standing up for myself, but maybe someone else will see it and they will have the courage to stand up for themselves as well. But also, I want people to be aware of what Fan Expo is doing because it's not okay. What is the point of having an accessibility booth? Having a sticker to put on my badge to identify me as someone who may need accommodations if they literally do not offer accommodations? I asked the staff what accommodations they provide. The only thing anyone could tell me is use of the elevators. There was one sign in front of the elevator on the main floor in the first room where you enter the convention that said elevators are for accessibility and strollers. This rule was in no way enforced and was not posted anywhere else that I saw. As far as I saw, everyone used the elevators, not just the people that had to use them. I checked the Fan Expo website. If you look at frequently asked questions under accessibility and go into their section on waiting in lines, they literally say that it would be unfair to the people who pay for VIP passes to provide accommodations in lines for the disabled. And if you are unable to pay the extra money for a VIP pass, then their official solution is you should have a friend wait in line and get your autographs for you. I'm sorry, but all of the friends that I went to con with are just as disabled as me, just in other ways. I didn't have anyone to wait in my place. It is possible that they had other accommodations available, but no one knew what they were, so I had no way to access them. I want to be clear. I did not ask to be skipped ahead in line. I asked for a chair. I asked for the ability to sit someplace out of the way while I wait my turn, or a faster line if they were not able to provide seating, which is a reasonable and typical request for this type of event for someone with disabilities like myself. Their excuse for not providing accommodations is that too many people were faking it to skip the line. I don't know if this is true or not, but if you are someone who has ever done this or has considered it, please don't. If you think it's harmless, it isn't. People like me who actually physically cannot stand in lines like this have to fight for these accommodations, and people who take advantage of it make it even harder for us. Conventions are really hard on the disabled for a lot of reasons, but we should still be allowed to enjoy them just like anyone else. We already have to fight so hard just to exist. We have to fight so hard for accommodations that we cannot go without. So if you are an able-bodied person who has or has considered taking advantage of these accommodations that are not for you, please don't. Don't think that it doesn't hurt anyone, because it does. And the people it hurts are hurt all too often already. But if you are someone who is disabled, if you are someone who needs these accommodations, do not be afraid to speak up. Do not be afraid to ask for them. Do not be afraid to be pushy and assertive and tell them to their faces that they are breaking the law and they are required to give you basic accommodations like a seat while you wait. Don't think that you are not disabled for it. Don't think that you're not disabled enough for it just because you could potentially push through. If you can genuinely wait in line with mild issues, then go for it. But if you would have to severely suffer consequences for doing so, then you are who these accommodations are made for. I don't know if this video will do anything. I don't know if anyone will even watch this video, but I hope that you did watch, that you'll share it, you'll interact with it. If you've ever had an experience like this as staff or attendee at Fan Expo Philly or any other convention, then please tell your story in the comments. Let me know, because this is something that needs to be talked about. Your voice deserves to be heard. This is something that I will not allow to be suppressed. I don't know if I can make a difference, but I hope that the people see this and talk about it, that Fan Expo will change their policies, and I guess that's really what I hope for. So thank you so much for watching this entire video. I know I've been talking for a while, and I hope this video reaches whoever it needs to reach, whether that be someone who works with Fan Expo and can actually help change the policies, some sort of advocate that can help, or just simply someone who's disabled, and maybe it'll give you the courage to fight for what you need. I'm not trying to bash Fan Expo. I am just here to give my experiences and opinions. This video is solely based off of my understanding of the laws and what my experience was at Fan Expo, what I witnessed, and what staff members told me personally. I guess this is all for now. It wasn't easy for me to talk about this, but someone had to, so here I am. If I can conclude this with one final message, it's that everyone deserves to enjoy conventions. And it's okay if you need a little more help than everyone else does to do so. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope that this starts a much needed conversation and I am eagerly awaiting to hear your stories and experiences with Fan Expo Philadelphia and any other convention. Thank you for sharing your story, if you do.